Hello, Astro friends. It's Melanie with the Astro Weather for the week. And today is already April 2nd, 2025. The Astro Weather goes till April 7th. I'm a little bit delayed. Lots going on here in my world, privately and professionally, since I'm back from Mexico. So, quick apologies that I didn't post it yesterday, although I must say yesterday wasn't so much going on, so we haven't missed too much by me posting a little later. And so this Astro Weather has apparently not so much going on this whole week, but we are integrating the effects of the partial solar eclipse on the 29th, the new moon in Aries, which came with an eclipse, with a seed eclipse, planting a seed for the new. And on the heels of the eclipse, the day after, the 30th, Neptune entered Aries for the first time, in 150 years or so, right? And that's a big deal. However, it's not permanent. Neptune will try out Aries until October 22nd and go back to Pisces. So it is a wave that goes out into Aries, retracts to Pisces, and then eventually really emerges in Aries on January 26, 2026. So we're having a lot going on that is currently influencing the atmosphere, although it might seem subtle, but we all feel something is in the making, something big is in the making, the zeitgeist is shifting, and that is also a Neptune effect. So much is currently on this whole cusp, this whole juncture from the old to the new, from the old cycle to a new cycle, from an old zodiac cycle to a new zodiac cycle, and that is Pisces to Aries. I show you the chart for Neptune's entry into Pisces, into Aries, that illustrates that. So check this out. So again, so much going on here. This has been already a theme in March, and now the energy moves a lot towards Aries, especially once Venus and Mercury also go into Aries on April the when is that again? April 15th. April 15th, Mercury. And then for Venus, we have there's all these various things converging currently. Venus comes a little bit later, so that's April 30th actually. And but the energy, you can see it is all shifting, and the Piscean wave is going out for now and soon for quite a while, for an era, I should say. And this year is such a transition year. So what do I mean by all this Piscean era, Piscean wave? We are coming out of an old ways of being that are very intertwined, but also in a distorted way. We know everything is interconnected, and that is beautiful. But the interdependency can also take shapes of like toxic energy, right? And there's a lot going on that shows us how nowadays there's a big theme in politics and in the news about which politicians are compromised, right? So where are dependencies and loyalties and things that really influence their actions and their choices and their responsibilities? And so that is one phenomenon that shows us that the Piscean world, there's always so much more than what meets the eye, and a lot can be deflected, deluded, distracted, and yeah, and we can be very, there can be lots of illusions and lots of deception going on. So all of this is being washed up to be washed out, to show on a deeper and more evolved level how we are, everything is connected. So can we have a fresh start based on that, based on our interdependency, as in Thich Nhat Hanh would call it interbeing. We are one being that expresses in all of us, and that is a powerful thing. And we shouldn't really act in these old. There's no reason except fear and conditioning to still act in these old tribal ways. The old tribal ways can come up, especially tribal warfare in various ways, can come up now so much again to the surface with Mars still in Cancer. Cancer is about home, it's about tribe, and Mars, of course, the warrior. And Mars still in Cancer until April 17th, then goes into Leo. So we hopefully have seen a lot and enough of that now to emerge, to evolve out of this. And when I say evolution and transformation that comes with the evolution, of course, we're talking about Pluto. We will have by the end of the month of April a very powerful constellation of Lilith. Lilith now freshly in Scorpio, the sign of Pluto. And Lilith will square Pluto and square Mars in early Leo. So Lilith brings us to a place of wildness on the surface, but it is actually about unconditioning ourselves from all the stuff that's been imposed on us and that we have maybe even genetically inherited. So how can we actually expose what's been imposed and not keep things in the dark, but transform? And from the Aquarius perspective, Aquarius brings transparency and solidarity. So how can we come together and share rather than hide? Because control only works when things are hidden and are operating in the shadows. So a lot of that is coming out now, and we'll see more of that, especially as we're moving towards the end of the month. And then Pluto will also be stationary because Pluto will go retrograde on May the 4th. So what's going on with this week still? As I said, we are integrating the effects of the partial solar eclipse. Of course, that takes much longer than a week. And typically the effects and the integration of an eclipse are at least for the whole season, in this case, spring. And so February, March have been have been the eclipses. So at least until the summer, but we only typically see over time the effects of that and how much it has influenced our lives. And this eclipse is a seed eclipse, so it has planted new seeds. By nature, the seeds are not visible yet. Their growth is not visible yet, but it's happening under the surface. And it's all about new emergence and something fresh, authentic, alive. And so the life force really wants to come back with Aries. And that's also the case with Neptune in Aries. Neptune coming out of Pisces, all of this entanglement, let's call it. And we are in a new world. We are in a new consciousness, in a new vibration that's very much Neptune. So let's be with that. Let's align with that. Let's be an expression of that. So what else is going on specifically this week? April 1st to 7th. And we are having currently we're in the center of Aries. We're in mid-Aries now, the 31st of March until the 9th of April. And that has, because it's a fixed energy, it's a center of a fixed of a fire sign, so we have a Leo undertone, and so Aries Leo combination, and the Leo undertone gives it a theme around be bold, be seen, be loved, show your colors, and be in your autonomy and authenticity and your sovereignty. All of that comes out very strongly, and I have a few friends, 3 friends, who all have their birthday tomorrow on the 3rd, all 3. And they're both very, yeah, in their own ways, very much expressive of their bold and authentic nature. You know whom I mean if you listen to this. You are one of the 3, and I celebrate you. And so we are in this phase. And what's with the moon? So the moon is, of course, waxing now because after the new moon. And currently, yesterday and today, we can see in the evening, if we have clear skies, we can see the alignment of the waxing moon with Jupiter. In other words, the moon is now also in Gemini, where Jupiter is. Beautiful sight, beautiful energy, the two together. Jupiter makes everything big, of course, right? So also the emotional realm can go really, the emotional realm, but on the other hand, also from a Gemini side, the mental realm, both in combination can be really big at this point, together with Mercury retrograde. And can that look like? Lots of discussion, lots of thoughts, lots of storytelling, lots going on in our mind, and some of it due to Mercury retrograde might go in circles, might even be redundant, might point us to old patterns of thinking, and Jupiter helps us to outgrow those, right? To see them and to outgrow those. And so that's a good effect, and that's a good thing, says Jupiter. Then the moon is still in Gemini until tomorrow the 3rd at 3:50 p.m. when she goes into her own abode, into her Cancerian moon boat, and will be there until Saturday the 5th at what time are we looking into? At 8:34 p.m., 9:34 p.m. Pacific. And so that is, the combination is actually very powerful, right? You have the Aries Sun, and here's just my computer waking up, the Aries Sun and the Cancer Moon. So it's a very strong Yang and very strong Yin energy. And so this can bring out in us, symbolically speaking, the warrior and the mother, right? So these archetypes are very strong, and the combination is leaning actually more towards Aries, as I said before. So warrior energy, and moon also associated with Mars, right? So Mars is now in Cancer, and the moon will meet Mars on the 5th, on Saturday. So what could happen, and what we're seeing, especially in Canada, US now, lots of patriotic energies, and lots of even, I would say, unnecessary nationalism, protectionism that's going on here. And why now separating ourselves from each other? And yeah, who is the reason? But how do we end this, right? And we just hurt ourselves as we try to hurt the other. And again, we are doing our segregation thing. That's very South Node in Virgo, while the North Node will be in Pisces. How can we actually find more unity, consciousness? And the moon will enter Leo on Saturday, as I said, in the evening, and will be in strong and proud Leo on Sunday the 6th, on Monday the 7th as well, until Tuesday morning. So double fire, right? So you have now the moon in Leo and the sun in Aries and so much else in Aries. So this is a very dynamic, energized, and maybe also warm energy, literally. I mean, now we have here on the West Coast some warming up going on for spring, and but also the emotions can be heated up, and we have to watch, especially in the Mercury turnaround time, because Mercury will go from retro to direct on Monday the 7th. That we are not too much, guided by our egos and ego mind, but hopefully have learned to be mindful and to watch what's going on and to come from the heart. That's also what Leo loves. And from a strong heart and from courage, from the Aries perspective. And because Mercury goes direct from end of Pisces, also from a unity consciousness. So what else is going on this week? We have on Friday the 4th, 4-4, we have Saturn in Pisces in sextile with the Uranus in Taurus. And then Mars comes into the picture as well. Mars in Cancer will also go into sextile with Uranus, and then Mars will go into trine, water trine with Saturn. So this in combination, this configuration is a very auspicious energy. So this can actually help help transcend, right? So transcend and connect. That's a Piscean theme. The warfare, the conflicts, right? That we're so experiencing so much at this point, and the Martian factor, and there can be also even breakthroughs and complete paradigm shifts from the Uranus perspective. So it's an opportunity. If you have trines and sextiles, it's not a pressure, it's not a strong, a powerful push, but there's gifts here, right? And there's, if we apply our skills, lots can be gained, a lot of benefit and gifts are available. And we have also on a personal level, of course, as well, we can go into different vibration. That is also what Saturn in Pisces is teaching us. So can we transcend all the density that has to do with fear, that has to do with separation, that has to do with us and them, that has to do with too heavy energy, while in the meantime, things can be much more at ease, right? So how can there be more an easeful way of being with you fill in the dots, right? And then from the Uranus in Taurus perspective, how can there be more joy? How can we follow our body and be more in nature, learn from nature how to actually be in what is, sink into the feeling body, sink into the physical experience, rather than being so much influenced and programmed mentally, and let that run your life. So Uranus in Taurus helps us to embody joy and freedom. And then from the Mars in Cancer perspective, also taking good care of our needs, right? And also on the 4th, Venus now retrograde, end of Pisces, will connect with the South Node. You can see in the chart how they're all aligned, right? So you can see here the North Node, I mean. The North Node is here with Venus, with Mercury, Neptune, Saturn, all there, right? So that is the chart of Neptune entering Aries for the first time, and it's still pretty much looking like that here. The moon is in the meantime in Gemini. But this is here, and Venus and the North Node will align on the 4th. So even more of an incentive to connect and also release, forgive, be compassionate, and come from a place of love, right? Come from a place of having found a healthy self-love, with Venus now retrograde. And from that place, also we have more an expanded heart, right? That has much easier time to connect and to forgive if needed. Then we have on the 6th, Sunday, we have the Sun in Aries in sextile with Jupiter in Gemini. A beautiful energy, very auspicious, and that can be a very joyful and also very dynamic, springy energy. So much is in the making now and happening and starting. Also excellent for any start, since you're also in the waxing moon phase. Anything, any projects you'd like to start that have to do with communication, have to do from a Gemini perspective with any kind of alchemy, more of a kind of a mental side, not so much this deep instinctual magical alchemy. That's more like what Scorpio is about. This is where Lilith comes in, Lilith freshly in Scorpio, and I look forward to our Lilith parlor this evening. So speaking of Lilith, if you have anything in Scorpio and wonder, get in touch. I might do another online parlor as well, and I have a special going on for everybody with Scorpio, and especially Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Lilith, consultation wise. So yeah, let's go back to Sunday the 6th. We have the Sun and Jupiter in sextile, and we have also Venus end of Pisces in water trine. So two water signs are activated by Mars and Venus. Venus in Pisces and Mars in Cancer. This is a sweet, maybe romantic, maybe a beautifully opening, heart opening flow, energy and vibe. It can be also lovely for family connection and reconnection. And so, yeah, so that is a really lovely Sunday vibe. Then we have on Monday, the 7th, as I said, Mercury goes out of retrograde, goes direct again, and will be still in Pisces until the 15th. So it's the U-turn phase. Take it easy there, going back to a different way of operating again mentally, but bringing forward the experiences that we learned under Mercury retro. And by the way, on that day, on the 7th, not only does Mercury go out of retro, end of Pisces, but Mercury will now also connect with the North Node in Pisces. What Venus did, right? What Venus did on the 4th is what Mercury does on the 7th. They have gone retrograde virtually, practically on the same degrees in the zodiac, which happens super rarely. And so again, accentuating this whole Aries Pisces continuum through Mercury and Venus. So yeah, our mind also needs to be attuned to a different way of being, a new way of being. And so Mercury with the North Node, as it goes direct, also a theme around yeah, our mind going into this unity consciousness, right? And also like the last new moon had a sapient symbol of wholeness, right? A crystal gazer, seeing the situation as a whole, right? So not compartmentalizing. And this is what Virgo would be good at, like really analyzing and dissecting and looking at all these various issues. But Pisces is more intuitive, is more yeah, attuned to the whole and picks up the atmosphere that surrounds something, and it's kind of a psychic energy, and that is actually encouraged at this point. And also expressing things more than through 1,000 words and ideas. Typically that's what art does. And we have yeah, so also on Monday it will be Venus in Pisces, then also passing not just the North Node, but also Saturn. Saturn also end of Pisces now. It's all happening there. And you can see it again here, right? So Venus, they are lined up here. So Venus passing Saturn is in a way the pre-conclusion of the Venus retrograde phase, which goes technically till the 12th, which will be also the next full moon. But there is already a marker with Saturn, right? So what has come complete around your inner journey of the love goddess, of finding love within unconditionally, really Pisces, right? You are, because you never, like Venus started her retrograde in Aries and then went back to Pisces. So you're never alone, although it might feel like, but we are all connected. And maybe you had beautiful experiences of that, feeling yourself in the energy field, in a holographic field. Also, how you see yourself is how the world around you reflects you, and also how you see the world around you. So you can't really separate that, right? And how you connect with yourself is how your day goes and how your life goes, right? So that's why Venus is so important in retrograde, to readjust us, to remind us of all that, and especially from the Pisces perspective, where she's exalted, where Venus is particularly strong, showing us love is, it's like unconditional love. It's not a matter of preference. And this much for the astro weather this week. Turned out longer than I thought it might be, but I was on a roll. I wish you a beautiful week with all these influences and confluences, and maybe you see me, as a few clients do, many this week in person. I'll be looking forward to that. And otherwise, maybe you tune in again next week and hear in a video. And if you like this, subscribe if you feel like, recommend it to other people who could benefit from that. Have a beautiful week, and namaste.